Hello? Hello! I am getting right into it today because I have a feeling this is going to be a long one. We are doing gel extensions today using a semi-solid gel glue, but before all that, I need to prep. So I'm starting by softening the skin around my cuticles using my Blue Cross cuticle remover. This is my current go-to. It just melts the dead skin around my nails. It's fantastic. I'm using a wood stick to gently push back my cuticles and scrape off any dead hangy skin. I'm wiping off the mush with a little bit of alcohol on a lint-free wipe, and I'm gently trimming off any excess with my cuticle nippers. When applying any kind of nail extension, prep to me is everything. So if you haven't already, I would highly suggest watching my last video on how I make my Gelish nails last at least 3 weeks. I go much more in depth on my prep process and reasoning for each step. So if you're having any issues with your gel extensions lasting, I would highly suggest checking out that video. Last time I did nail extensions, I went against my better judgment and failed to trim my natural nails. So this time I'm trimming my nails down super short with nail clippers. As my channel continues to grow, I get new viewers asking me what I rest my hand on while I'm painting my nails. This is just a mini crumb vacuum. Here it is in action, sucking up all the dead skin and nail clippings. I'm working with Una Gella tips today. These are their medium almond shape, and I'm sizing them to my natural nails. As always, I'm going to have to reshape the thumb tip to fit my cuticle area, which is naturally more square. And to do this, I'm going to use a 180 grit file. Much better. Now that I've sized the tips to my natural nails, I'm etching the inside using a ceramic safety bit. I etch the part of the tip that is going to make contact with my natural nail. I'm removing the shine from my natural nails and roughing up the surface a little bit to help with adhesion using a coarse buffing block by Chiara Sky. I'm also using a glass cuticle pusher tool to get the spots that my buffing block couldn't reach, and then I'm wiping off the dust and excess oil from my nail plate using my CND nail surface cleanser. I also like to buff the cuticle part of my tips to thin them out a little bit because it gives the cuticle area a much more natural look upon application, so that's what I'm doing here. Before we get into application, let's first go over all the different viscosities of gel glues that I have in my collection. So the first one is a builder gel or builder in a bottle, which is a soft gel. It's thicker than gel polish, but it's thinner than a hard gel, and it can be soaked off. This is what you would normally expect to receive in a Gelish kit. Some brands call it a nail glue for whatever reason, but it's almost always a gel product that requires curing. I think some people get the two confused and and I don't know why brands don't just add the word gel in the name. Sometimes I have people asking if it's necessary to cure said glue. Yes, gels or quote-unquote glues that come in Gelish kits require curing with either an LED or UV light. It's not the same thing as applying press-ons. This next one is the one I'll be using by Gella. It's advertised as a solid state gel glue, but compared to the next two that I'm going to show you, this still has some fluidity, so for that reason, in my mind, I call it a semi-solid gel. It's not all the way solid like these two. These kind of feel like clear Play-Doh. You can roll them into little balls with your fingers, and then you use them to adhere and cure your tips. The Gella product that I'm using didn't come with too many instructions, so as a rule of thumb, before applying anything else, I apply my dehydrator, followed by my acid-free primer, followed by my base gel, and then I cure my base gel in my LED lamp for 45 seconds. I always like to have some kind of base gel on my nails first. And I don't know if you can tell by the quality, but I'm using a new camera today. I love the way it looks, but it took me a little while to figure out, so some of the footage during these 3 steps is a little bit out of focus. Luckily, I caught it early and I was able to fix it right away. As I mentioned earlier, the Gella solid gel glue is a bit more fluid compared to the other two I showed you. It's recommended that you squeeze out a bead of gel in the center of your tip like so, but when I did this, due to the viscosity, I found that it didn't spread to the very edge of my sidewalls, so I like to spread it all over the tip using the nozzle of the tube. And you don't want to apply too little of this or too much. So the cool thing about using a solid or semi-solid state gel to apply your tips is that once you place the tip on your finger, it stays where you put it. I'm placing mine slightly above my cuticle, gently pressing it down my nail to get rid of any air pockets, and unlike regular builder gel, it doesn't slide all over the place when I release pressure and let go. I don't have to hold the tip down while I cure it, which is perfect for anybody who has trouble during the flash curing process when working with Gelish systems. If you tend to cure your tips crooked or experience gel oozing or air pockets, using a semi or solid state gel glue to adhere your tips may be a better option for you. I suggest giving it a try. It is super beginner friendly. So because I don't need my other hand involved in the curing process, I can do away with the flash cure light altogether and just slide my finger under my regular LED lamp to flash cure, and then once all my tips are on, I can give them a full 45-second cure. One thing I want to note about this gel is that it's kind of an interesting texture compared to soak-off gels that normally come in Gelish kits. Once it cures, it almost has like a rubber quality to it, so removal isn't as easy as a soak-off gel. So I decided to also include removal in this video, which is why it took so long for me to get it up. I wanted to wear the nails for 3 weeks, show you how great they wore, and then show you how I removed them. Sidebar, not that you asked, this product does have a smell to it. It dissipates, but you can definitely smell it upon application. I do love the shape of these tips, but I was going for a shorter almond shape, so I'm taking down the length a little bit and reshaping them with a 180 grit file. Next, I'm thinning out the cuticle area a little bit more using a Chiarosky 5-in-1 bit because a thin cuticle area not only looks more natural, but also makes the manicure last longer because it's less susceptible to lifting. And then I remove the surface shine using my Chiarosky buffing block, and I wipe off the excess dust with a little bit of alcohol on a lint-free wipe. I've shown you this before, but for anybody that is new here, my secret to melting my tip into my cuticle area is to go over it with a little bit of acid-free primer. I can't even tell you the last time I experienced any lifting around my cuticle. Try it for yourself and let me know what you think. I can imagine your shock finding out that I wanted to go for a cool toned pink look today. What else is new? So I'm applying a couple thin coats of the In.Hype elastic base in the shade, I think Delicate Pink, and I'm curing each coat in my LED lamp for 45 seconds. The elastic base is slightly thicker than a gel polish, so I try to keep the coats pretty thin so that my nails don't end up looking bulky. From time to time, I'll get the odd comment from someone who clearly has never worked with gel polish asking me why I go over the same spot so many times when applying my gel polish, and not in like a curious way, it's more of like a what the hell are you doing kind of way. I go over the same spot to avoid streaks or to remove tiny pieces of dust that may have ended up on my nail. It's called attention to detail. This shade is gorgeous on its own. I could just end it here with a top coat and call it a day, but I wanted to add a little extra something, so I'm gonna do a dreamy French tip with my stamping tool. But first, I'm wiping off the inhibition layer with a little bit of alcohol, and because I know somebody's gonna ask, the reason I do this is because the shine on the inhibition layer is distracting when I'm trying to do a French tip with my stamping tool. It's just personal preference. I'm using my stamping tool, this gorgeous shade of gel polish by Raregism, thumb and this double-sided dotting tool that came with it. I'm going to be using it to make little swirls in my French tip, as seen here on my thumb. If you don't have a steady hand or have trouble freehanding French tips, might I suggest that you start using a stamping tool. It is a game changer. I personally use it to save time. It comes out pretty perfect, but I usually like to touch up the sides using a nail art brush, and then I sharpen the smile line with a cleanup brush and a little bit of alcohol or CND nail surface cleanser. Then I take my dotting tool to create little swirls, which look very pretty when working with iridescent mermaid shades like this one, and then I flash cure the tip before moving on to the next one. When all my tips are painted, I give them a full 45-second cure. Next, I'm applying my In.Hype crystal top coat, curing it in my LED lamp for 45 seconds. And upon closely inspecting my finished work, I realized that I can see a little bit of the gel glue underneath a few of my nails, so I just clean that up with my e-file. Lastly, I'm finishing off with a little bit of cuticle oil and admiring all of my hard work. I wanted to show you my right hand as well. I initially tested out the Una Gella solid gel glue on my right hand. I wore the manicure for 3 weeks. I gave myself a fill, which is why the elastic base is a little bit more opaque on my right hand, and then I repainted my tips, and this is what my nails look like after about a week and a bit of wear. I did the fill with regular builder gel, by the way. Anyway, this is the finished look. I love it. If this is all you stuck around for, I hope you found it helpful, and thank you for watching.
3 weeks later.
These nails did not budge for the entire 3 weeks that I wore them. I even went to the lake and spent an extended period of time in the water. No lifting, no cracking. I could have easily done a fill and enjoyed them a little while longer, but I wanted to move on to my next video. The first thing I'm doing is taking down the length of my nails with my tip cutters, and then to further trim them, I'm using nail clippers. Getting my nails as short as possible will make for less filing. Next, I'm filing off as much product as I can with my e-file. If you're not comfortable using an e-file, this can be done with a coarse hand file. It will take you longer. I've done this enough times to know how much I can file off before I reach my natural nail. I would recommend filing off as much product as you're comfortable with before soaking. The more you file off, the less you'll need to soak in acetone. Before applying my foils, I am smothering my fingernails with cuticle oil to offset some of the dehydration that the acetone causes to the nails and skin. Then I'm soaking my foils with 100% pure acetone. I'm wrapping them around my fingernails and allowing them to sit for 5 to 10 minutes. One by one, I remove the foils, gently scrape off whatever product I can with the paddle side of my cuticle pusher tool. This is done very gently. And then I wrap my nail back up if I think it needs to soak for a little bit longer. The Una Gella solid gel glue can be soaked off if it's thin enough, but it's a bit more stubborn than regular builder gel. It kind of reminds me of poly gel, just not as sticky and a bit more rubbery. Any last little bits of gel I had stuck on my nails came off after my second round of soaking, and then I just used a buffing block to smooth out the surface, wipe off any excess dust with a little bit of alcohol on a lint-free wipe, and then I trim my nails. I'm once again basting my nails with cuticle oil, gently pushing back my cuticles, letting the oil sink in, and that's about it. My natural nails are looking as healthy as ever, and I'm ready for my next look. And And that, my friends, concludes this long ass video. As always, all of the products that I use will be listed in the description box below. If you are still here, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing and staying subscribed. And I'll see you in my next one. Okay, love you, bye.